All right, this time we're pleased to welcome Michigan head coach Dusty May and student athletes Namari Burnett, Roddy Gale Jr., and Trey McKinney. At this time, we'll take questions for our student athletes. Please raise your hand if you've got a question. Go on the left.
Hey, Roddy, Isaac Trotter, CBS. I was just curious your relationship with Felix, getting to go up against him again today or tomorrow, and just kind of what you remember from those Ohio State days.
Obviously, me and him coming in our freshman years, we were roommates, so like I pretty much spent all day, every day with him, and we just built a special bond together. So it's obviously fun to play against somebody you essentially grew up with for those 2 years, and then seeing his growth, his progress, and honestly just being able to compete against him at such a high level.
Second row on the left.
Chris Ballas with the Wolverine on 3. Trey, for people who don't know, obviously you grew up a Michigan fan, but when there was a coaching change, how long did it take Dusty to earn your trust, and what was that recruiting process like with him?
I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously he got the job pretty late in, my high school career, but I mean, he made sure to, be able to pick up for some of the slack that he left off, where he didn't, know me as much early in my high school years. So I think his approach just, trying to build a relationship with me as a person, and the coaching staff also doing a pretty good job of just coming and seeing me and building that relationship and talking with my family. So, I mean, I got pretty comfortable with them pretty quickly.
Go second row on the right.
Hey, Namari, Jake Cohen, Associated Press. You talked during the Big Ten tournament about what it means for you to play in Chicago at this time in your career, and then now that we're here playing, but you're about to play for a spot in the Final Four, what does it mean to you have it be in your hometown? And this city has a rich basketball history. What else? So can you talk about kind of what it means to you to be part of that history?
Yeah, to be playing in the United Center. I remember growing up as a kid and just dreaming about playing on a high level. Being here, I mean, watching Derrick Rose when I was growing up was also always amazing. But being here, playing for a Final Four, I think nothing tops that. And playing with this group, playing with this team, and having a chance to advance, honestly, will take that over playing in Chicago. So I'm just grateful.
Front row on the left.
Alejandro Zuniga, 24/7. Roddy and Namari, Dusty's talked a lot this season about the sacrifices you guys have made to be on this team. Curious if you guys can speak to that and what made it worth it for you guys to stick around despite maybe taking on more limited roles.
Roddy, you want to go first?
I think it's just like the people that we have on this team, the staff that we have, allows you to kind of, buy into what the program has to offer, buy into your role, and just leave everything out on the court. And I think that's just something that has been successful for me. So, I mean, I just felt like why shy away from, what's been successful for me in my career, especially with the people we had coming back and their personalities, I think allowed me to be more comfortable with it. Obviously, we have the best player in the country, and he's the most unselfish one, in my opinion. So when you have a locker room full of guys like that who's unselfish and want to see you succeed in life, it's just easy to be able to, play your role.
What also makes it worth it, just to piggyback off what Rod said, is just playing here at this stage right now. I mean, playing with the most unselfish, the best players across the country, and getting to this moment, playing an NCAA tournament. I mean, it means everything, and these are the goals that we set prior to the season. And so any level of success will take a level of sacrifice, and we all understand that, but we're all committed into that one goal, which is to win a national championship at the end.
Go front row in the middle.
Charlie Jacobs, Inside and New. This is for all three of you. So this is your 5th game this season at the United Center. You guys are 3-1 so far, and all of them, other than the game against Alabama in the second half, have been pretty close. So what is it like playing here for a 5th time, and what do you guys see as the expectation to being in the building and playing so many neutral site games?
It's exciting. Like I said before, just playing for a Final Four, but also playing for the national championship. But you see the rafters, you see Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen up there. And it's quite amazing to be stepping on that, that same floor, sharing this history, but doing it on a different level. So I'm grateful and excited for these moments, and I know these guys are too.
Yeah, like kind of to talk about that. Even I think our fan base do a really good job supporting us, especially in these games like we have at the United Center. And I think that we've just been able to rally off of that. That's just kind of how we've been successful, just feeding off the energy from the crowd, and being able to get some stops.
Go fourth row in the middle.
Andrew Kahn, MLive.com. Roddy, this whole Roddy March thing, I mean, sports are very mental. I wonder how much you you just wake up and say, all right, it is March. I am Roddy Gale. I'm going to have a good game today, and whether that, can actually, lead to success.
I mean, I think it's just the circumstances for me personally. It's like, Coach said it a few games ago. It's just like, especially these games, you just bring your best, and if your best isn't, get the job done, then, you can live with that. But so, I mean, I just take it as like now, it's literally do or die. And if I don't give that extra sprint, don't get that extra, dive on the floor, lose balls, and that could cost our team. And I don't want it to end that way, knowing that I didn't leave everything I had on the court. And I just think that kind of carries so much, especially mentally, physically, and then just playing really free.
Last row, middle left.
Carlos Menares, Detroit Free Press. Namari, just curious with Tennessee, they're as a 6th seed, they've knocked off Virginia, Iowa State. I don't know if you exactly call them a Cinderella team, maybe a giant killer. When an underdog kind of takes on that role and is finding success, what can that do for their confidence, and how much of a concern is that for you guys?
I would call them a really, really good team. Rick Barnes has been coaching for a while and coaching at Tennessee for a while, and he knows how to win, especially at this level. So, we understand that at any, especially at this point of the season, any team is a challenge, and we're also looking ready to take the challenge to them as well. So, we look forward to a really good physical game, but also playing our style of play on both ends of the floor.
Go to the last row on the right.
Trey, for you, and if any of the guys want to chime in, what similarities would you say your team has with Tennessee? Vince Ferrari, 99.1, the sports animal in Knoxville. So that's part one. And two, is there a team comp that Tennessee is the most similar to who you played this year?
I think I would say, Tennessee, they try to get as many second chance points as they can. I mean, they're on the offensive glass really heavy, and I mean, that's something that we preach because, I mean, we have a lot of size down low, and we want to get as many shots as we can because we know those are, the most efficient shots. But I would say, they play, I mean, rebounding-wise, they play a lot like Purdue. I mean, so, yeah.
Go back left.
Justin Williams from The Athletic. Roddy, I've seen you kind of give Yak some glances for some of the confident quotes that he's made the past couple of days. On the floor, though, how do you think that confidence and his personality has helped him?
I mean, on the court, just let Yaks be free, especially when he's emotionally invested in the game. I feel like he's at his best with his activity, offensively, defensively, even on the glass. So, I mean, some of his antics, it may be a little extra sometimes, but that fuels him to be his best. So you kind of let that happen. But as far as media, I've even tasked with Roddy Watch, so I got to make sure he's on his best behavior.
Go in the front row.
Alejandro Zuniga, 24/7. Roddy, Namari, you guys faced the best offensive rebounding team in the country last year in Texas A&M in the NCAA tournament. I'm curious if there's any similarities from that prep or from their style of play that you can use when preparing for Tennessee tomorrow.
Just being able to get hits early on and not allow them to get position. We know that they play 3 centers, 3 bigs most of the time, kind of similar to us. So it's just all about positioning for us, especially on these long rebounds, long shots. Being able to chop our feet and not letting balls go over our head, and just be able to win the position battle.
Yeah, I would just add to that we've played, especially in the Big Ten, with teams like Illinois, like Trey mentioned, Purdue. There's been a lot of teams that crash the glass heavy, and that's their identity, and that's been Tennessee's identity throughout the season. So, we look forward to getting physical hits throughout the course of 40 minutes, and winning the rebound battle is one of our goals for this game.
Go second row on the right.
And Maria, Jay Cohen, Associated Press. You're obviously one of the more experienced guys on the team. How do you share that experience with your teammates? How would you describe your leadership style?
I feel like I lead by example. I am a vocal guy, but I tend to lead more by example and just doing things the right way, and while also being there for the younger guys or guys that haven't been in this level before, and a lot of these guys on this team are already prepared for these moments. I would say it's part of their upbringing, part of their previous experience, and just being ready for this moment. So, I mean, my job as a leader is pretty easy, especially with the coaches who also lead by voice and example as well. So, I just feel like I add the level of leadership that is, of course, age and experience, but also just bringing it together with the group.
Go in the front row.
This is for Trey and Roddy. So you guys have made 11 plus threes in all three of these tournament games so far, whereas Tennessee is one of the best teams against the three defensively, just allowing 30% of threes to go in. So how do you plan to attack that from beyond the arc?
Trey, you want to take that?
I mean, they're definitely going to be really physical, and I think we just try to, on offense, we just need to try to play to our advantages, and whether if that's a good open three and to try to get a great three, I mean, we would take the great three all day. So I think just trying to play off closeouts and get the better shot.
Yeah, kind of to go back off what he said, being able to keep the advantage. We know that they're heavy in the gap, so being able to get the ball space when somebody drives and then play off of that and play off of closeouts is something that's going to be really important, just because those guys are going to go from the block essentially all the way out to the three-point line. So being able to take off that and turn down good shots are great ones.
Any other questions for our student athletes? All right, gentlemen, we'll let you go. All three of those gentlemen will be available in our breakout rooms coming up until 4:20. Right back here. All right, take questions for Coach May.
Carlos Menares, Detroit Free Press. Dusty, how much have you shown the guys the film from FAU beating Rick's team 3 years ago, I think, and does this team look any different? Any similarities that you guys can get an advantage from?
Well, there's a few things that were great reminders. I told our guys we didn't show them any film, just we try not to overload them, but there were a couple lessons we learned. We felt like the first 17 minutes of that game, we were completely overwhelmed. We were struggling to make any passes. We were trying to do too much as individuals. And then just before half, we made a couple really good plays and felt like, okay, that's it. There's a solution now. If we can carry that over into another half and play really good ball, and we were able to do that, and we had a double-digit lead with a few minutes left. So I think it's just a reminder of it's shocking how physical they are in a good way, how hard they play, how active they are with their hands. It's very difficult to throw a direct pass anywhere on the court because of their effort, and obviously their size, athleticism factors into that. But so yeah, it was a good reminder to watch that edit, because some things definitely popped back into my head to be aware of.
Come up here, second row on the left.
Chris Ballas, the Wolverine on three. Dusty, this one kind of slipped through the cracks the other day. What you said, talking about recruiting Yaxel and how you relate recruiting him, you said we're not disrupting anyone's season no matter what rumors are out there. We usually just call the head coach. What did you mean by that with the rumors, and how would you address that?
This time of year, and especially now, these couple weeks, for example, you're receiving calls, and they sound something like this. So-and-so is, if they bring in this player, then this player's going into the portal. If this player goes here, then that player doesn't want to play with him and he'll probably leave. If this coach leaves this school, then this player is going to go into the portal, things like that. And so usually if you hear that rumor, then someone called last year and said Bennett Sturts might go into the portal after the season, and this is probably maybe this time or a week prior. So I called Ben and said, hey, Is it true that Bennett's going to leave next year? And he said, I don't think so. He said, we're going to do everything we can to keep him. But if he did want to leave and go to the portal, there'd only be a few guys that I would feel comfortable could coach him well, and I'd certainly help that. But no, I don't see that happening. So that was the same thing with AK. I know Andy Kennedy, and someone called and said that Yaxel had another year. I think it's the JUCO ruling, and so just called AK and said, what's he going to do next year? Is he going to stay there? Is he going to go to the NBA? Is he going to enter the portal? And I don't remember what his initial response was, but it was something like that. That's, you hear all this stuff going on, and I'm sure half of our roster has, or all of our roster has, everyone has representation now. So when a head coach, his season ends today and he takes a job tomorrow, he has an agent that's been working those back channels, and I'd say 90% of the good players have the same thing going on right now, whether it's working the back channels to stay and leverage to get more for themselves, or just doing what agents are paid to do to represent their clients. So that's what I meant by that.
We'll go third row in the middle.
Yeah, Drew Leonard, Michigan Daily. Trey McKinney yesterday was taking, especially earlier on in the game, was taking some threes that you'd kind of expect a veteran to take early in the shot clock, a couple of feet back off the dribble. What does that say kind of about where your trust level's at for a true freshman to be taking shots like that in the Sweet 16 game, and kind of how Trey's earned that through the year?
Yeah, you said it. He's earned the right to take those shots through his day-to-day work, through his preparation, and also the way he shot it this year. So when Trey comes in, we want him, if we can generate this shot, an open three, then we want him to take it, whether it's 5 seconds in the shot clock or 25 seconds in the shot clock. But he's an explosive player, and he came in last night and got right to it, and we needed it.
First row on the left, Dan.
Dan Walken, Yahoo Sports. Dusty, how do you process the longevity of somebody like Rick Barnes? And I imagine that your formative years, you watched a lot of his teams play. What does he mean to you just as a basketball person?
Well, obviously, I mean, when you just look at 3 consecutive Elite Eights, the level of in this era, the level of consistency, and when he got to Tennessee, I was an assistant coach at Florida, and so we saw how quickly he was able to get it turned. They have the same identity every year, year in, year out. They have the same base. Ryan Alpert, who's now the athletic director at Georgia Tech, was associate AD there, and he was our associate AD, sport administrator at FAU. So when he left to go to Tennessee, and I would call him and, hey, what's Coach Barnes doing this summer? What's Coach Barnes doing in preseason? And then when I got the FAU job, I'd watch their preseason, their pregame warm-ups and routines, and just felt like that's a team that's really, man, they're very intentional with everything that they do. So I called their strength coach and said, hey, do you have anyone in your tree that I need to interview or consider? Because I have a lot of respect for how your guys play, the way they move, how physical they are, and then also just there's a different level of the way they work and attention to detail. So I've tried to absorb as much as I could from afar about his program, but could have more respect for him as a human being. Chris Walker on their staff, I know they're assistant coaches, and they're just really, really good guys who are great ball coaches. And I actually started drinking kombucha tea because Albert told me that they had a kombucha machine in their locker room, and if I can coach with the longevity of Coach Barnes as well as he's done it, then I'm going to try to steal any secret sauce. So maybe it's the kombucha.
We'll go second row on the right.
Hey, Dusty, Jay Cohen, Associated Press. Namari Burnett, what does he do for you guys that maybe is less noticeable from the outside looking in? And also his size and athleticism and experience, how helpful will that be tomorrow as you deal with Tennessee's guards and defending Tennessee around the perimeter?
Well, Namari's a stabilizer, meaning every single day he's the exact same person emotionally, physically. His pre-practice routine is a 10 out of 10. Everything he does is a lot like the Tennessee guys, with attention to detail and purpose. As far as athleticism, we're going to need our guards to rebound well, and the basketballs they can't get, they're going to have to figure out a way to tip them towards guys wearing our collar jersey and away from the Tennessee guys. And so he's got length, he's got size, he has athleticism. So I think our guards rebounding down is probably going to be the difference in us moving on or going home.
With third row, Pete.
Dusty, a coach's philosophy is a collection of experience from all your different stops, and obviously it's a collision with the talent that you have and the roster you build. I'm just wondering if you can reflect back a little bit of this team and the way it plays and how you built it through the prism of your collective experience.
Yeah, we've always done a little bit different. And I watch certain teams that recruit a certain profile or a certain skill set, and we've always really just tried to find guys who love ball, who are great teammates, who are competitors. I mean, those are probably the two things that we value most. Competitors, because just that we have a strong belief that competitors are going to figure out a way to win. Whatever that is, they're just going to figure out a way to win whatever they're playing. And so the competitive spirit is probably the most important thing. And then loving ball would probably be a close second. And sometimes we say we don't really care. You can love to compete or you can love ball. We think we can get to the end result as long as you have one of those. And then whether they're, obviously being big is in vogue, but I'd never been a head coach at the Power 5 level, and I felt like at Florida, because we were so big, our defensive numbers were top 5 in the country. And I didn't feel like we were that great defensively or had that great of defenders, but because we were so big and we were athletic, that gave us a real a baseline to be good. And so we wanted to try to copy that, and then it was convenient because Vlad was 7'1", and then Danny's mom went to Michigan, and he wanted an academic situation and a high-level basketball, so we felt like that probably puts us one out of 5 as far as the academics and the basketball. And then you have the family connections. We thought, wow, we could have a real shot at getting this guy. So 2 7-footers, then you're naturally going to be bigger than most. And so we've always just tried to get good players, and then we've enjoyed the process of watching our guys, learning our guys to figure out the best way for us to function as a group. So we're not married to being big. Heck, if everybody goes big, we might weave and go small. Who knows? But we're not winning because we're big. We're winning because we have really good players and smart players.
Go back row in the middle.
Sean Windsor, Detroit Free Press. Dusty, the regional differences in our country obviously aren't what they used to be. No matter the corner you live in, you have access to the same music, food, style, whatever, in ways that we didn't. But we've held on in college sports, particularly in basketball, particularly with Big Ten, SEC, North, South. I'm just curious, why do you think we've held on in that area, and do you enjoy that?
I don't understand the question.
Just that there's still rivalries and differences and identity in North and South. The SEC, maybe they used to say that it matters more and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think obviously there's cultural differences in every region. I've lived in Florida. I've lived in the Deep South. I'm a Midwesterner. I've lived in L.A. And so I've lived everywhere but the East Coast. But everywhere I've lived, there's a difference in culture of just the way people live, the way they look at sport, the way they look at society. And the Big Ten, I mean, you think about it, the University of Michigan was a university before Michigan was a state. So there's a lot of just ingrained tradition that goes with being affiliated with Michigan, and I can just speak for this school that I represent. And so you have 150 years of connection if you have, whatever, if anyone in your family went to Michigan. And then the I guess culture sport in the Midwest, the farming communities, it's cold all winter, and so you work in the summer and you work in the fall and you work in the spring, and then you're inside watching hoops and getting ready. And so I think you have a long history of people loving basketball, and you go into Big Ten arenas and these places, I mean, it's packed. I used to tell people all the time, our games in high school, we couldn't announce our schedule until the IU schedule was done, because they weren't going to schedule a varsity basketball game at a small school in Southern Indiana on the night that IU played. Like, that was sacred. That's like, you don't schedule it on church during Mass. You don't schedule games during IU basketball at that time. So I just think there's so many years, and as long as there's someone told me this recently, that as long as our teams are playing for a championship and we're representing something, a city, a university, whatever the case, then people are going to really care.
Go front row in the middle.
Charlie Jacobs, Inside and You. Dusty, Michigan, you guys have scored 90-plus points in all 3 of these games so far, the first team to do that since Kansas in 2017. How do you continue to basically score at will against arguably the best defense you've faced thus far?
Just continuing to create offense for each other, whether it's through screening, cutting, passing, whatever the case. And I heard that stat earlier today, and I was shocked because I felt like we left so many points on the floor last night between our missed free throws and front ends, and also our lack of conversion around the rim in the first half. And then because of our leads all 3 games, we've slowed our tempo down the last 8 to 11 minutes of each game drastically. So I think our guys have found a good rhythm, and our role guys are making shots, and our stars, I saw what Yax was shooting in March, and our stars have elevated their game as well. So I think all those things combined have allowed us to be efficient on both sides of the ball.
Go all the way back on the left.
Clayton Safety with the Wolverine. Coach, you've had a tight-knit group already, but have the last few weeks being together, traveling, hotels, these games, the wins, brought it even closer? And then secondly, on Elliott, it feels like he's not the most vocal guy out there, but he plays with an edge and a passion. And how do you see that drive him, you feel like, and give him a little bit of an edge?
Well, he is vocal. Elliott, going out to the court, when we're at our best, his voice is heard. We actually made a comment. Staff was watching film this morning about how tough he is. I mean, he is an absolute Tasmanian devil when he's at his best. He's impactful. He takes it personal. When we were analyzing our team and evaluating our group this summer, we're trying to forecast what could be a problem, what could keep us from being our best. And one of the things we thought, we had two psycho competitors in Merez and Elliott, and we had to make sure that those two psycho competitors weren't competing against each other, and found a way to make them realize that they were very, very similar, so there could be some friction in practice. And as long as it doesn't ever go too far and it never gets personal, then that edge is going to make us better. And those two guys, their competitive spirit, you see Yax, he's a fun-loving guy. Now, he can turn it on and really compete at a high level, but Elliott and Merez are absolute psycho competitors, and our group needed that. And so he's brought that, and he's brought such a high level of intelligence to our group. I mean, we have a couple guys that I call them savants. I mean, they see, when I watch film with our young guys, I'm showing them clips of our older guys and saying, he probably doesn't even know what he's looking at here. Let's try to really dig deep of why he saw that and what he saw there so we can learn from him. And we've learned a lot from Elliott. LJ Kaysen has learned a lot from Elliott. Trey McKinney has learned a lot from Elliott because he's such a bright basketball player, such an intelligent player.
Stay in the back left.
Coach Justin Williams from The Athletic. You kind of mentioned Yax being a fun-loving guy. I was asking Roddy about him. How have you embraced that aspect of his personality as a head coach?
Well, I embrace them all for who they are and try to just move the needle a little bit. And when we look back to where he was to where he is now, he's a completely different person. And I think when we see him a year from now, when he's playing in an NBA rotation, then he'll be a completely different person. But I think he's a little bit misunderstood because he's not nearly as self-confident. And I've even read where some have called him arrogant. That's not who he is. It's probably his defense mechanism. He's as genuine as a human being as anyone I've ever been around. I know there was a video, the Purdue, about this or that, and I was shocked at the video because it was so out of character, but I've also had too many drinks at times and done things that I probably shouldn't have at a bar at 3 a.m. But, he's just such a good guy. He's been an awesome to be around. But as you hear our players talk about, his level of unselfishness and never wanting to be above their group is what's made this year even more special.
Go to the back right.
Vince Ferrara, 99.1, the Sports Animal in Knoxville. Coach, love to get your breakdown of both Nate Ament and Jacoby Gillespie for Tennessee.
Yeah, we have the scout on Jacoby. We played against him last year at Maryland, and he's a dynamic player. He's got a clean shot from 27 feet, so he extends their range and their spacing. His ability to get in the paint and find small cracks and crevices to create offense is as good as anyone we've played. He's just smooth. He's a smart player. He's crafty. And then we recruited Nate early on, so I watched him play with his high school team. I watched him play in travel ball. He's a special talent. I mean, he's 6'10". He gets to his spots. He shoots threes. And I'm pretty sure one of the reasons he probably chose to go to Tennessee was to learn how to work to be a pro, and he's done that. He's a completely different player than he was 4 months ago or 6 months ago, whatever the case. And once again, that's a testament to the culture of Tennessee basketball.
Go second row on the left.
Chris Ballas, Wolverine, can you share your favorite 3 a.m. personal story? No, probably not. Okay.
When it comes, you talk
About the agents and the clients.
Those were before camera phones.
Gotcha. Good idea. You talked about agents always working for their clients, but you still hear a lot of coaches talking about tampering. Are those rules clearly defined, and how do you make sure you follow them to make sure that that's not taking place?
Man, you know, there's so much hearsay. I mean, I don't want to get into this because but if you never know if it's leverage. Like I've heard we're recruiting a player that's a junior and we can't take juniors. And so you try to address it and then you realize once it's on Twitter, there's no reason to even talk about it, just let it go. But I mean, even when we're negotiating with agents, they'll tell us, well, this school offered this and this school offered that. I was talking to one of my closest friends in coaching, and he's had postseason meetings. They were in the tournament. They got beat early, and he's had postseason meetings, and he said, this guy's been offered this from this school. This guy's been offered this. And so you don't know if it's true or not, because if an agent is using leverage, or maybe that agent called a coach he knows and says, this kid's leaving. He's just got to wait till the portal opens. Do you guys want him? So I don't know. This is all... It's really, really complicated. Like I said, I mean, we had one of our players' agents 2 weeks ago say that he's already spoken with other schools, and then he caught himself. And I said, no, you don't need to. Look, you work for your client. If this isn't the best place for him, and we got the next month to really evaluate from our standpoint and his standpoint, if this isn't the best place, there's no hard feelings. Like, you work for him, he's got to do what's best for him. We want him to stay, but if he doesn't feel like he's going to have an opportunity to play and develop, whatever the case, then there's no hard feelings. And so he was almost shocked that we weren't angry at him because he had said he'd spoken to several other schools. And so as long as they're all on one-year contracts, and as long as there's as much fluidity as there is in college basketball, it's until we figure out a system, it's not going to change. And I don't take it personal when our guys say they have offers from other schools. I just don't. I don't like it, because obviously then it's more work for me, and it's change and it's hard, but I'm not mad at them for it.
Go third row on the aisle.
Dusty, Bob Wadowski, Detroit News. You probably addressed this earlier, but I wasn't here. Do you think your big guys are maybe looking forward to facing a big, tough, physical, rebounding team like Tennessee, as opposed to a team with all sorts of guards around the three-point line?
I don't know. There's going to be a lot of good big guys on the court for both teams tomorrow. I think we're at the point of the season now where we've proved that we're able to win no matter how the game goes, slow, fast, physical, free-flowing. And so we just try to figure out how the game's being officiated, what the rules of engagement are, and just try to do the best we can. We do feel like we're built to win and play whatever it is. So we do feel like us being adaptable is a strength.
Go first row on the left.
Hey, Dusty, Joe Rexler from The Athletic. Elliot was just talking about trust being a big part of the recruitment with him and the conversation between you and him. Just wondering what that conversation was and how you think that's helped him flourish this year.
I don't remember that specifically. I do think, we as people, we all have personality traits, and I'm a person that I trust 100% until that trust is violated, maybe twice. And so if we're going to sign you and we're going to ask trust and loyalty from you, then you're going to get it from us. And so when you come here, like, especially as a point guard, we recruit you. Like, we're going to trust you to run our team, to work together, to collaborate, to be the best for you and the best for us. Because, I mean, we do take a lot of pride, and it has to work for our guys while we win. Obviously, winning is our objective. We have to win. But we also want them to be fulfilled in their role, their growth, their development while they're winning. And so that's usually the starting point of all of our conversations, is that trust factor, that it's going to be an open relationship where if there's issues, we're going to talk about it. We're not going to go whispering and doing all the other stuff. We're going to go man to man, and we're going to figure out a solution and figure out a way for both of us to achieve what we need to achieve.
Go fourth row on the aisle.
Dusty, Jennifer Hammond, Fox 2 Detroit. We were having a conversation with Elliot about his move-in experience, and he said there you were bringing a table up the stairs, helping him move into his apartment. He said no other coach would have or has ever done that for him. And that seems to be kind of a sentiment guys were echoing in the room. Where does that come from, just that you care for them so much and do all of that?
I forgot about that. Greene County, Indiana. I mean, I'm a blue-collar guy. I cut grass, I cut tobacco, I baled hay, I worked in turkey barns. I did anything labor while running cross country and playing basketball and playing baseball and doing everything. So if you see a neighbor that's moving in, you go help them. I have a couple rental properties in Bloomington, Indiana. When I was living at IU, the elderly lady didn't cut her grass, so I just went and cut her grass. I mean, it's just where I'm from, in the community I was raised by my parents and whatnot. That's just what you do. And when your players is moving in and he has a lot of stuff, it's a lot quicker if we walk across the parking lot and help them move them stuff in than having a kid and a mom and dad. So it's not much deeper than that. I mean, it's kind of how we run our program.
It feels like it might be infectious with your players. How much do you appreciate that you've seen them really lean into the "we're a band of brothers" type of thing?
It's the best part of all this. It's we're not consumed. I'm not consumed with winning tomorrow, so we can go to Indianapolis and be in a Final Four and have all the stuff that goes with it. Just consumed to keep this journey going with this group. They're so much fun to be around every day, to see how they've grown and as far as their relationships and who they are as people. That it's very rewarding, and hopefully our staff is modeling the right behavior 24/7, 7 days a week.
Got time for two more. We'll go in the front and middle.
Charlie Jacobs, Inside and You. Coach, earlier you touched on how Yaxel's been shooting very well in March, including 10 of 18 from 3 at the United Center. What have you seen from his game that has made him more of a three-point threat?
I think just confidence. Our staff's done a really nice job of just staying with the work and the process before practice, after practice, just getting that extra confidence that comes with putting in the work. And then his teammates believe it in him. And also I think he's found different ways, solutions to generate great shots. And we've been disappointed in him all year that he didn't believe in his shot like we do as a staff. I mean, he didn't shoot very many threes before he got here. And we watched him the first week, and we made a comment that his shot probably looked as close to Klay Thompson as anyone on our roster, and there's no reason why he doesn't become a 40% shooter. He hasn't gotten there yet, but we felt like he could be that just with confidence, reps, and if we could get him good shots, meaning paint touch threes and things like that.
Last one, all the way in the back.
Yep. Hey, Dusty. Tony Garcia, Detroit Free Press. First, I close on a house in like 10 days, so I'll find you. But seriously, Trey McKinney's had a fabulous freshman season. What do you see as his next step, the next development-wise?
I don't want to put a ceiling on anyone, and I don't want to put any, I guess, expectations because when you're trying to do this and trying to do that, but I think he's going to be one of the best guards in the Big Ten, and if you're one of the best guards in the Big Ten, then you're going to be one of the best guards in the country next year, and we're excited because first and foremost of how hard he's going to work and how much time he puts into it. So just to see him do this late in the season when a lot of freshmen have hit a wall and are almost ready for the season to be over about 6 weeks ago, he's just continued to improve, and he's all about the film, the shooting, the weights, taking care of his body. He's a professional with how he works every single day. And I did work in a furniture warehouse as well, and I've delivered furniture, so I have a unique skill set when it comes to moving and angles and getting couches in tight spaces, so I'll be there.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference